Make sure our stream is live. Cool. All right. I guess we'll get started. So this is going to be an experiment in streaming a project I'm working on. Well, I'm starting, called Squishy. It's going to be a vulnerability playground. Going to bake in a bunch of disgusting, exploitable vulnerabilities. And the first one is going to be something we're going to showcase at a talk where I work. And we're basically going to give our attendees kind of a glimpse into what an exploit can look like in the wild, how they're found, how they appear or how they can appear, and what it looks like to exploit one. And as the developer on the other side, what it looks like to find it, fix it, and address the vulnerability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with just planning out as kind of a spec. Project out. Yeah. So we're going to build a web application for work orders to be created and assigned to workers. So we're going to have it's not going to be like a single page web application. It's going to be multiple pages. We're going to have some sort of state on the back end to know who we're talking to. What I want to do is I want to build a sort of minimum viable product that gives us the ability to create a ticket or a work order at one level of privilege and turn around and use the exploit to hop from a lesser privileged user to the more privileged user and change the assignments. That's it. That's the simplest component we need to build. I've got in my head sort of a very bootstrap looking template. And I just want to start with something simple, and we can add spit polish later. We want to get something off the ground that we can demonstrate. I'm not going to worry about database backend just yet. Figure we can work with Golang, build a simple web server, templated initial page, and throw some buttons on the page, wire up Bootstrap, get things looking something like a web application, and kind of go from there. Make sure my stream's working. Looks like it's live. Cool. So I want to get we're going to want a login page, a landing page for worker indicating work assigned. Quick preview that and see what that looks like. Yay. Cool. And this is going to be open source. I'm just going to release it onto GitHub. It's already up and available, although there's not much there yet. Let's just go ahead and get started. New file. Make sure I got my Go stuff all wired up here. Let's make sure that this thing works. Oh, I don't have my, let's see if we can fix that. I want, alright, I think I have to, fun, right away with the tooling problems. It's gonna scream at me every time. Go path is unset. Don't have everything secret in there yet, so I guess it's not a big deal. Let's see if it gets happy now. No, it's still angry. Now it's happy. Now let's see if it can fix my broken. No, now it's angrier again. Right. No, it's worth troubleshooting this because it's a really nice utility to have. Oh, I didn't actually append it to my path. I don't have a bin. I don't think that's going to work, but we'll try it. But I did it. I mean, that seems like it should work. Yeah, I know. I don't have it bought under this user. Mm-hmm. What is my brain not seeing here? Mm-hmm. Package settings. Go font. So we're looking for Go imports. VMware Fusion public. That's strange. Wireshark. Thanks. But I want that. Okay. So I need to find and add to my path or get into my path go imports. Still angry. But it works. I don't have a lot of faith that's going to just work. Yep. It's not helpful. So I don't think it saves it by default. Right. Commands. Can't edit that. Use your local bin. Use your local go bin. Yeah, that's what I thought. So angry. Command period doesn't do anything. Yeah, tack W to right. I've not read this a dozen times. Now I'm actually trying to read it. Always come down here to failed on go path. But the path is set. It's wrong. say so. Supremely unhelpful. This does not seem to work. Command period, command 5. Make sure you hold the command button down for the whole shortcut sequence. But, yeah, I know how to find that. But if it's complaining about the path, the following environment variable is currently in single path. That's completely fine. Yeah. This is going to be the hardest part of this whole thing. Well, this sure shouldn't be this hard. Same problems. And yet, somehow I managed to get this running on my standard dev setup. Do I have Margot running? I don't. Next. So many people have blogged about this. Installing it with Brew. Pretty sure I've got Go Sublime installed. Bye. I feel like that was broken. Holy cats, that's taken a while. Okay. What did you do on your stream today? Spent an hour installing GoFumped. Wow. Tooling hell is real. This doesn't seem to really be doing much. Okay. Well, that did it. There we go. Let's try this one more time. Would you quit going over there? Nuke this, hit save, restores it. Okay, now we're to a place where we can actually do stuff. Oops. Too large. Let's do this. Go run. Started. Yeah, it works. Okay. What we want to do is we want a server running on port, what, 4433? Sure. Oh, do I not have syntax highlighting? Dot. Alright. So Golang HTTP. That guy. Server. We'll do 8080. That's easy. Unserve. And we want to set up dot. Handle. And I think there's a router I want to use. This guy. Yeah, I like this one. Please don't. Alright, now I want to instantiate a router. Router.new. Oh, okay, that's an interesting way to do that. I've not seen that before. Yeah. I don't actually have to instantiate a server. .get. We'll say index. And that is http.response writer request http.request, and we actually don't need that. Params. I really wish it was automatically filling in my or giving me the completion. Config. Okay, go code. Not stable. Good. It's fine. Oh, why not do something I've never done before? Hey, Kirk. Working on the squishy app that that is going to basically be a demonstration of vulnerabilities. And we're going to do a talk about that at TechPulse. This thing's not working. Oh wait, I'm not done. Great. Go please. We're going to basically create vulnerabilities. I'm going to build something that is vulnerable to exploit. And then I'm going to demonstrate how to exploit it. And in doing so, show business owners and office workers, what have you, what it looks like to find a vulnerability, exploit the vulnerability, and then what it looks like when you get caught and it gets patched. Well, that didn't work at all. I have to see what I'm set up with on my other user and replicate my setup over here. Otherwise, I'm going to be doing a lot of documentation lookup instead of getting these handy little autocompletes. Anyhow, I want to write something when I do a request for slash. I don't care about you. And yeah, I'm going to do log.fatal. Yes. Oh, there's my... And there it popped up. Go away. And then I'm going to w.write byte. Start the server. Undefined. This is a... Oh, yeah. Get. Copy. Keep. And then we'll do... This is a test. Cool. So now we've got a functioning server. We don't need to do that in there. Let's actually pull this up in the web browser. And go ahead and turn off all of these extra things. I need that. I want that. It's good. Test. Neato. All right. So I'm going to make a page that is, let's make a new folder called Pages. And inside there, we got a new file. And save this as what do I want to call this? Call it index. That's a little bit too on the nose. Login.gohtml, I think is the extension I want. Doesn't know what that is. Going build output. Rename. And I'm going to use the Go templating language here to make us a neat little login page. I guess I don't need a template to do that. I can demonstrate it. Let's do this. Golang template. That's text. I want HTML. Nope. Thank you. So we're going to create a login page. There's really no good reason to use a template here. Let's just go ahead and why are you just adding spaces? Just for good luck? You're all over the place with your spacing. That I can deal with. All right. We're going to have some resources, some JavaScript, some CSS. Do we do this all inline, or do we get fancy with our project layout in the directories? Start with inline. Let's bring in Bootstrap. Download. Source CDN. Look, already too much code. Yay. And then when we load main, we're going to all right. Let's just call this return. All right, so theoretically, kill that. Request it again. Stuff comes out of that. So we should also see you got to enable developer mode. Advanced should develop. Yep, there's our style sheets for Bootstrap. All right. So we got that. Get started. Start a template. Hello. Script. Not so worried about all that. Not worried about that. All right, so class that's close. And is that gonna, yeah, it's gonna load it every time I do this. Cool. So now Squishy is sitting in, or stuff is sitting inside of this div, which has got container padding and margin to put it in closer to the center of the screen based on the Bootstrap grid system, if I remember correctly. So it doesn't look like much, but it's a good start. Alright, container. And everything else is going on here. Div. And we're going to have login page. And I believe we've got a Bootstrap class for all of the things. Container fluid, yes. Responsive, don't care. Give me components. Card. Is that what I want? No, I don't want a card. Pop over progress, blah. Input group. That's what I want. And input group prepend. So each input group is a field with a label. So here they've got the @ and username. There's the @ that's wrapped up in this, and then username. And so all of that whole field, that whole situation lives inside this div span and input. So we're going to want username, password, submit. And so we're going to have div input group prepend inside of this thing. Input group text. to say username, input. No, it's not a div. Type text class form control type text class form control placeholder username. We'll say Sally Field. Whatever. I like single quotes. And that's going to be that. Let's see if that shows up on our page. And if it's all jacked up. Well, that's nice. It be invisible. Okay. How did I screw that up? Oh, I had a space. Okay. It's kind of obvious, but whatever. So we've got input group that, input group, password, type text, name equals, password input name equals username, password, type is password. That doesn't work. Yay. Those look misaligned in an ugly way. This is where you start going down the styling rabbit hole. Wrapping, checkboxes, multiple inputs, multiple add-ons, buttons. Kirk, no, HTML doesn't much care. Most languages don't much care whether you use double quotes or single quotes or backticks. Generally, depending on the language, it can affect what it does. Go is very picky. Go will only accept strings that are wrapped in either double quotes or backticks. There's also a thing called here doc and now doc, which gets, when you really get into the mud of string handling, I'm going to show you here, doc. Give me here doc. So this is, here doc is goofy. So if you want to embed like code inside of your code, but not have it render as code, not have it evaluated, this is a good way to do that. And then it basically looks for EOT or whatever you put in here. You can have it say elephant. And then there you go. And oh yeah, the identifier must not be indented. So this is an example of it working correctly. Anyways, that's a tangent. Yeah. Double quotes or single quotes are valid. In HTML, I don't think backticks work. And the reason to use one over the other usually doesn't matter. Sometimes you'll have single quotes used as apostrophes, and then in that case, especially if the HTML is being loaded dynamically with stuff, so like let's say we don't know as necessarily what this text is going to say, so like we have instead dot username and it's some variable. If username can be swapped out with, O'Sullivan, If you wrap that in single quotes, you get "oh," and then this is angry, and like it stops working correctly, and your HTML goes crazy. Oops. All right. I've got a login. It's way up in the top of the screen. I don't really like that. See if I've got a bootstrap way of pushing that down. Responsive breakpoint, z-index grid. Grid options. Layout equal width. Yep. Class call, class row. I know how I usually do this. I'll give up and do it the way I usually do this. If vertical alignment. 1 through column, blah, blah, blah. Internet Explorer 10 or 11 do not support vertical alignment of flex items when the flex container has a minimum height. Oh. This makes me want to use straight CSS. Kirk, if you mix them, no, it doesn't matter if you mix them. So, for example, if I did double quotes here instead of single quotes, it don't care. It makes no difference. Totally fine. So the way I would normally do this would be different from this bootstrappiness. The bootstrap is good for like an Outlook style, if you will. Left pane, right pane, center pane, top ribbon, that kind of look. For I want a box right here that just says username, password, and a submit button. This is a little bit contrived. See if I go button type, type equals submit. I don't even think you need to wrap that in quotes, honestly. Submit, or wait, log in. See what that looks like. So we get this login button that's really gross. Button components, buttons. Yep, type button class btn. btn primary. Nope, wrong one. Look, it's blue. So still have stuff that's a problem. Placeholder for password is going to be blank. Good. Do we want a placeholder for username? Nope. Let's see here. My login's all goofy. This thing's in like, so what we can do, I think, div class equals row. I'm just going to wing it. And then here we go, div class equals call All right, I'm gonna look at the documentation. Where's my grid? Grid. Call row calls for. That's goofy. Row columns, don't care. Mix and match, doc. Row, call 8. Okay. Call 4. And then I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go take this guy down here, wrapping all of this in that. Div class equals call for, no call for, because there's 12 columns total. I'm going to put this in the middle. Div wrapping this, re-indenting all of that. No. Indenting all of that. HTML is lovely. And then have another one of these guys on the tail end just as a buffer. See if we can put Sally Field in the middle. That's a little better. This guy's still wonky looking. How can I make my button look happier? Components, that's a breadcrumb. Button. Long button, wide button, large button, block button. Button primary, button large, button block. Button. Boom. That looks okay. I want it away from the top. Can I have that? Is that a thing I may have? I'm just going to see if I can make it do it. Nope. Alright. What's the documentation say? Back to the grid. Where is it? Container, blah, 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 blah. Mix and match, call, MD, count, blah, blah, blah. Gutters. Custom padding, row columns. Rows. Alright, brain, find them. So one of 3 columns. Second set of columns. Align items center. I don't trust it, but maybe. Nope. Didn't work at all. Should have trusted that. I didn't like that. Call. Align items start, items center, and align items end. But we've got a minimum height. Container, call. Self, align self, align self, align self. It's not that simple though. This has got like a minimum height set on it. There's container. This is way different from what they theoretically have. Div. So there's container in here. Just gonna break the whole concept. They're a bit. Horizontal alignment, vertical. Okay, well, so let's just do some manual mashing here and see if we can make it do it. Line item center. Our container itself is not very big. And I never do this in Safari, so this is going to be tricky. Canvas storage, draw.console. Nope. Where's my CSS? Hello? I have a better idea. We are going to go to localhost and do this in easy mode. Container. So I want to make this container a certain size. So minimum height. Minimum height. And that's what it's complaining about. Minimum height. Doesn't work in IE. Guess what? Don't care. Element. 300 pixels. That didn't work at all. And look at that. It's bigger. Apparently it doesn't care. Align items. Align, oh, you know what? Let's do align self. Nope, nope. Why would that work? Of course that won't work. Align items center. Of course that doesn't work either. Fine. I don't want to learn about more bugs. 1 of 3, 1 of 3, 1 of 3, blah, 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 blah. Row. Not, yeah, row is, it goes container row, call. That's fine, that's fine. There's a way to not do this thing. Call for, there's like a skip. There's a skip. How do you skip columns? Variable width. Large, medium, yeah, whatever. Solve this problem, then worry about that later. Row, column, align self start. Align. Self center. No dice. It says flex. I don't think I care. Align self center. This can probably go away. Show me your secrets. Line. What's special about this? Why this space? Am I doing it wrong? Min, height, 300 pixels. Still nothing. Still no dice. My row isn't very big. Min, height, 300 pixels. There should be. So, how am I going to set my minimum height? Is it just something I have to set? Just have to set it? That doesn't seem very bootstrappy. How are you doing it, Bootstrap? What are you doing? What's this all about? You know what? You're in the wrong browser. Bye. What is this about? Container, max width, row, min height, 10 rem, which I still don't understand what that means. Row, align item center. So, is that align items? And it's got divs inside. Oh. Okay, let's inspect this guy. Align self. It's inside of a row with a min height. Example flow flex. Okay, so that's just assigned by width of it's embedded inside of that stupid thing. Okay, so we're gonna just have to do that. So call row. Where's my row? Row style min height 400 pixels. Well, all right. I really don't like how these are so squished together. Let's make that better. Buttons, components, buttons. There's probably a button group. it's a grouping of buttons or input. It's an input group. It's a grouping of inputs. And then if they're not squished together, they won't look so awful. Input group. Oh, input group. Oh. Well, all right. Let's pluck this out. Put it in here. Pluck this out. Put it in there. Don't need the secondary one. Cleaning up code. Deleting code is great. And then back here. Oops. Well, that's not what I want. That's not good. MB3. What is MB3? Input group. Prepend input group. MB3. 93. 3. Save. Not that one. This one. That didn't help. Bootstrap, what are you doing? Show me this. Input group. BD example. Don't tell me BD example's given us special powers. Margin bottom, position relative, display flex, flex wrap, align item, stretch, align item, stretch. It's not doing it. Width 100. Width 100 is probably doing something. So that's one big box. Why are you not sitting right on top of your friend? Margin bottom. There it is. MB-3. Margin bottom, probably 3, whatever. Well, I mean, I know I can do the style. Well, let's do this. Let's do this. Class. Is this a utility class in Bootstrap? Anybody? Bueller? What am I looking for? Layout. Grid. MB. Nope. 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 Buttons. Does button groups have the same thing? We got buttons. Button block. It's just that. Nope. Don't care. Not helpful at all. Oh, more stuff. Okay, the very first thing that isn't text is this example. This example is this. Where is it? That. MB3. Spacing. It's a spacing utility. .mb-3 on input group. Class input group. Three. Wait. Input group prepend. Oh. They are separate input groups. I did the wrong. That was dumb. Alright. That looks okay. Look, we have a login. Let's give it a title. Let's mock it up. Don't have to guess. We can do it. Inspect. And our row here, we're going to edit as HTML. H1, sure, why not? Log in to Squishy. Oh, it's not centered. I don't like that. Alright, let's do this. Span. Class. Input group text. And log in to Squishy. I'm not confident that's going to work. Let's make this still going to be off, right? Yeah. Yes, yay. It looks like a thing. Now I want to center this text that's completely unimportant. Style. Text. Align. Center. Yay! Alright. That actually looks reasonable. Nobody's going to turn the nose up at that. Or I think I want dark mode. I haven't even gotten to the application. We're just going to go right down this rabbit hole. Dark. Yep, alright. Boot, strap, dark, theme, free themes. Easy to install, customize, open source, Cerulean Cyborg Darkly. Looks neat. Just want the minimized CSS. I'll take the full CSS. Open with that. And do new folder. And in here we're going to do new folder because why not? New file. Bootstrap dark. Of course, it doesn't have a clue how to deal with that. So now we've got to tell it how to handle requests for files in resources CSS. So we want to do router.get get resources resource handler and I just want this all over again. Kinda knows what I want. Router dot doesn't tell me anything. Got named parameters, catch-all parameters. Okay, cool. So we can do something slash a star file path. That gets kind of nasty. File path. And then I think this is going to be get by name, and then it's file path. I use PS. I kind of like that. Still don't have completion, but PS by name, that just gives you a string. So we're going to just say file.read file. Super dangerous because this is, again, we could inject a nasty file path and potentially like read something that's at what would that be like? I don't know. And then it would actually serve you the secret file, assuming the thing running this thing would do it. Anyhow, for now it's fine. File bytes error. If error not equal nil, log.print error, return. Otherwise, w.write file bytes. And I think it'll do file sniffing, content type sniffing, and figure out what the thing is and pass it the right content type so your browser reads it correctly. I'm not going to concern ourselves with that just now. We're just going to see if it works and if it explodes. Resource handler. So now I'm going to tell login that I also want a new link rel equals style sheet href equals resources slash resources slash css slash bootstrap dark dot css. So theoretically it's going to ask the server that it got this file from / resources / css bootstrap dark.css, right? Main's going to pick up resources and then a file path. We have a problem. The file path is not the full file path. We need to say resources plus the file path. That ought to do it. And then we should get dark mode. So we got it there. Yeah. But we have to restart the server because it doesn't know how to handle that right now. I mean, I can prove it. I don't know. Still doesn't work. Read resources as a directory. Notice we're not getting a file name or the line number. That's really annoying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify main with log dot. I hate that this thing. Log dot set flags. Log dot l short name. Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah. L log. Help me. Golang. Set flags. Short file. Short file. That was close. Resources is a directory still. Main.go 42. So now we're seeing that. I also want to see that timestamp though. Log.l standard flags, I think is what that's called. Nope, it's not. You're wrong. Capital F. No capital F, no capital F. Thanks for the consistency. Go. Now it's going to be an error with the date, the time, and the file name, and the line number. So we can go track it down. 42, right there. It says resources is a directory. Read resources is a directory. I mean, I'm aware of that. Read it. File plus file path. All right. So we'll say log.print received request for file. And wrap it in quotes. So it's double quotes with single quotes inside. And then %s. %s, when I add the, click that, F for format allows me to pump file path into that string when it prints. Now we're going to do it again and watch it fail again. Receive request for file blank. Doesn't know what I'm looking for. Okay. File path. So maybe that's not the right name. Just guessing. I don't know. Cool. Receive request for file. CSS Bootstrap Dark. And then it didn't give it to me? I don't actually know. Right file bytes. So let's go down here and say log.print f red of size D for a digit. And we're going to say file path and length of file bytes. So I want to know if it read the file, what the file path is. And it's actually file path is going to be, let's do resources slash, that'll be a little better, I hope. Test. Resource, oh. Who can see the problem? Adding too many slashes to my path. Red resources of size that. So I requested it twice. Is that correct? I requested it twice. Is that because it failed? Why is it angry? Why aren't you working? Style sheet was not loaded because MIME type text plain is not text CSS. Okay. So what I was saying earlier about I think it tastes a file to see what kind of file it is was false. So the ultra stupid hacky way to fix this is to say w dot write header. No, header set content type content type is text CSS. I think this will work. Place your bets. Hell yeah. I'm happy with that. Looks real nice. Looks good. Does it need to say login to Squishy with a login button? Probably not. Just decided that. Right on. Nice and simple. We need jQuery to make this happy. Bootstrap JavaScript. It doesn't matter to me. I don't know. I can actually get rid of the JavaScript because we're not going to use it on this page. Bye. Let's not kill it. Let's just go comment it out in case we want it later. So there. We're loading it. We're not getting errors. This is great. It's reading the thing twice. It doesn't make any sense. Once, because it's not failing. Great. Now let's see if we can make it do that thing where it tastes the file to see what the MIME type is and then sets that. Golang MIME type detection. A library for that. I don't want a library. Go knows how to do this. MIME. Parse media type. Type by extension. There we go. MIME. And then what's it do? We get a type or we get a string. Okay, so MIME type, which is going to be the string that comes out, I think, and is going to be mime.type by extension file path. MIME type, MIME, good. So now we got MIME type, and I'm going to just plop that in here. And I'm going to restart the server, and we're going to see if it fails on its face. Didn't die. Squishy. Boom. It just works. Now we can say, hey, give me that JavaScript file. Give me that image. Give me that text file. Whatever. New folder. Just getting ahead of myself here. JS, CSS. Make one more. New folder. I don't think we're going to have images, but I'll throw it in there. Cool. Now we've got CSS, images, JavaScript. It is logging all kinds of crap when we do stuff, so I'm going to just comment out our logging. And now we're going to get nice, clean output. Nothing. Nothing. Unless it's angry. Then it'll do stuff. Okay. I wonder if our read file and this file path are protected. If they're protecting us. Because we might not want that later. Because we might want it to shatter. We might want it to be able to throw up like your password file. Because that'd be a neat exploit to have. Watch me steal your password. Where did that go? Named parameters. So you can see name is a named parameter. Values are accessible via params, which is just a slice of params. You get the value of the parameter either by its index in the slice or by name. Oh, storing request context. Yeah. Pattern user, so I know all about that stuff. Catch all parameters, that's what we use. Second or catch all parameters and have form star name, like the name address here, match everything, therefore they must always be at the end of the pattern. Oh, okay, cool. So you can pass it into a standard HTTP handler and then retrieve it from the context that it's passed in with. Cool. I mean, I don't have a use for that yet, but it's cool. Params, context value, which we are out of param key instead of the proper helper function. Options, cores. Oh yeah, we might want to override that to allow it to do all kinds of naughty stuff later. Don't care about that stuff. Basic off, not going to worry about that. Not found handler. Cool. Okay. So we're getting a login page. I think that looks pretty sweet. I think we should kind of pull that through to the next page and do a rough outline of what our app should look like and fill it in with fake stuff, placeholders. Resource handler, let's just kind of cap that off for now. That's going to be fine. Index handler, let's do, that's main. Resources, and I'm just debating whether to put stuff in a new file yet. Don't have to. It's purely a choice. Thinking. We're going to do router.get and then app handler. That's probably completely not good enough, but for now, func okay, app handler. So we're going to have a new page called file called and I'm going to just snipe all of this real quick and then just delete all of this stuff for now. Yep, just that. So I got my columns with nothing really special going on there. I don't need my height thing here. I do want this because we are going to do JavaScript and jQueries. Let's go get the jQuery CDN. (3x) minified. It's minified because if you think you're going to edit jQuery, you're already wrong. Debugging it? Maybe. That looks goofy. Okay, I guess that's valid. Whatever. I mean, it would be cooler to have it like all match. Really, folks. There, look at that. We're all fancy pants. Nope, can't have them touch. Hey, get over here. No. Yes. I mean, that looks fine. And then we're actually in Squishy, because we're going to pretend that we are, and that we already logged in, and we're in there, and we're doing work, because that's what Squishy is going to be about. And now, so we got app. Main knows about app. So and this is where we start to do some repeating of ourselves, and we start to wonder, should we refactor? I'm not going to yet. If I don't repeat something more than twice, I'm not going to refactor it. Refactoring being taking all of this boilerplate, turning it into a function that I can pass this string into, and it just spits out the thing I want. But not right now. Pages. App.html. App handler now does that thing. Cool. I think what we're going to do is we're going to make app. Yeah, we're going to use a template on app, and we're going to throw in like a username and see it show up in the app. That's what we're going to do. /app. Well, server's not running. Not running the new code. Need to run the new code. Go. No, look at that. Blank page. Yep, that's correct. All right. Let's log in. Login goes away. App. Don't need you and don't need you. Don't save. All right. We have container row. I guess I do want a column. So what I want to do is have a left sidebar, very much like we have on this app here. Left sidebar and then like a title bar. Something goes across the top. So we're going to have a div class equals row. This is going to be our top row. This is going to be our content in the middle. Call 3 and then calls 9. So this will be 9 of 12 and 3 of 12. This is going to be our sidebar. And this is going to be our content. This is our title. I don't know if that's actually necessary. Do it anyways. And it's actually known as a nav bar. And I think there's a better way to do this in Bootstrap, but we're going to see what this looks like. Garbage. Sidebar. Oops. Content. I mean, that's correct. That's correct. It's just not long. We don't have height happening. Navbar. So I'm going to give this an ID. Navbar. And this an ID. Content. And then in here, style. For now, we're just going to throw it in line. And to assign style to an ID, do pound the name, and navbar is going to be height 100%. Let's see what happens. And content height. Not really sure if it's going to work. Didn't work. Just doesn't seem to have worked. All right, so I'm probably doing this the wrong way. Let's go see what Bootstrap says we ought to do. Where do you go, Bootstrap? Layout. Grid. Oh, look at our utilities for layout. Merging, padding, blah, blah, blah. Grid. I don't need this. Call small, blah, blah. Gutter width. Nestable. Column ordering, yes. Equal width. So if you don't append anything, they just are equal width. Don't need call 12. Okay. Equal width, multi-line. Setting 1, column width. Stacked, mix and match, gutters. So I don't know that it's really necessary that we... So I want, what I want is for this to have I like to do just background color blue, just so we can see where they are. Nav bar. Wait, what? Nav bar. You're not a nav bar. You're a nav bar. You're a sidebar. Nav bar. Sidebar. Height thing is not working. Height. I know how I can fix it, but I want to do it the right way. Color is green. Look at that. We have things that are producing some chromatic aberration. So I want navbar to be taller. 30 pixels? 60 pixels. That's too big. 40. Alright. Sidebar. So what I want is I want the sidebar to extend all the way to the bottom of the page as well as the content. I just want it to be all the way to the bottom, or go all the way to the bottom. So we just have to figure out how Bootstrap wants that done. Margin utilities, SAS mixins, offsetting, off-putting, column breaks, column wrapping, alignment, reordering, nesting, equal line, equal width, components, utilities, extend. So I know I can make this happen by going like this. I don't know if Relative will do it. Bottom 0 pixels. Nope. Nope. This will do it. It totally breaks everything. Yeah, there it is at the bottom. I don't really want to do that. Been there, done that. Min height, 100%. Nope. So, nav bar. It worked on nav bar because that's a column. Sidebar is a column. This was content. Well, it doesn't explain anything. Nav bar, min height, 100 pixels or 40 pixels. Sidebar, min height, 100%. 100% doesn't work. I bet I can do like 400 pixels though. Yeah, that's not what I want. I want it to be the full height. How do I force this to be the full height in the Bootstrap? Utilities, changing display. That's not what I want. All right, time to Google. Bootstrap. Column full height. Stack Overflow. Exactly. Yep. Row call. What's the answer? Container row. Call no float. CSS tables to achieve this. Really? The answer is can't do it with Bootstrap. If I can't do it with Bootstrap, why do it? Okay. I might be saying that I know how to solve this problem. Position absolute. Top 0 pixels. Right. No. bottom 0 pixels, left 0 pixels, width. Maybe the width will automatically be set. I don't think so. Shattering the system. Oh God, it's totally wrong. But relative won't let us do it. Yeah. Oh, that's dirty. I don't know if I want to be that dirty. I kind of want nicer. But see, I can make it work. That's the problem. I can make it work. Watch, I can make it work. And then basically apply the same logic to content, and I can get rid of the height, and I can make this right. Look at that. And this is actually 40. And left is, I don't know, 40. Nope. 60. Close. Why is it close but not? It's going to be like 52 pixels. Because nav bars, we got fluid. What'd you call it? So, well, look, it's perfect. So, Bootstrap is built to help people make fluid layouts that can go from browser that's like big to phone. You can see that nav bar just sticks to the top. In our case, we don't care. This is for demonstration. It's going to be used in a desktop environment. You're not even going to be able to run this. You'll be able to access it with mobile if you really wanted to. There's a way to do it, but this is for demonstration purposes on a desktop computer or a laptop with a display that isn't this big. I mean, 1080p, it's good size. So I might be throwing Bootstrap Grid out the window. Oh. I think I can do it still inside of here. I can still use it inside the content. I just, for what I want, I'm not achieving what I want. The content and sidebar overlap in a weird way. Not so totally satisfied with that, but if my goal is to just get this sucker baked and make it a usable demo, fighting with the CSS for like 3 days to try to make this fluid layout work on the desktop only exactly the way I want, it's probably not a fight worth having. Okay. So for now, I'm not even going to try to fix this goofy navbar thing always happening. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of fix it. I'm gonna totally fix it. 0. No bottom statement. Right. 60 pixels. Gross. 60 pixels. Whoa. Right. What happened to right? Top, right, left. 60 pixels everywhere. What happened to right? Right's ignoring me? Not allowed to ignore me. Top, right, left, height. Bueller. I also don't like the... You know what? I don't care. I decided I don't care. We're going all the way to the edges. Just Still something weird happening. Container. Yep. Container was doing some weird stuff. I bet row and class are doing some weird stuff. Bye. Oh, that kind of, yeah, that didn't delete nicely. You need to go away. You two need to go, no, you need to go away. You need to go away. I think you both need to go away. What happened to my sidebar content? Content. Oh. Left. Let's call it right. Body. I bet my body's got body. Margin, 0 pixels. Padding, 0 pixels. Still not happening. What is the deal in here? What is in here the deal? Click on that, and it'll tell you all the positional stuff. So I've got padding on my content because it's a call. I bet calls have padding. I don't need that. I don't need your helper. Well, now everything exploded. Okay. Nav bar. Top height. Left, 0 pixels. Right, 0 pixels. I don't know why I deleted all these things. I was just angry. Top 40. Height 40. Sidebar. Top, bottom. Left, 0 pixels. That's already there. Width 250. Don't. Oh, pixels. I mean it. Okay. I mean, it's not fluid. It is in no way fluid. This is very solid. But it's predictable. And I think I can still shove all those fancy div class equals container div class equals row. Div class equals call. Div. Yep, it still works. Yay. We can still do stuff. Okay. I'm fine with that. And I don't know how it'll react when I do this. It does do some fun stuff. Okay, that's fine. All right, so we've got gross colors. We've got exactly the position of stuff we want, and it's not fluid. It will completely shatter in mobile. That's okay. Let's fill it with some stuff that makes a little bit more sense using the stuff in Bootstrap I like. Let's do a list components. List group. Yeah, let's do that on the side. Just cut and paste. Neat. Cool. It's stuff. Who cares? I want this to fake out like it's a button. Yay, works. All right. Populate that later. I want to put hello username up in the title bar dynamically. And I want to do that with a template. Navbar. Dot username. And now we have to change the way we load and handle this, because right now it's got that, which isn't helpful. So I'm actually going to change app navbar squishy, and then I'm going to make this span style equals I don't think that's going to work. Nope. Position absolute left. 0 pixels. What am I missing? I just want to throw it on the right side. Right side. Boom, username. Okay, so I want this to be replaced. So in main, we're going to do some handling file bytes. And this is still rusty in my brain, so I'm going to pull up template. Import text template, template.new. Food's working fine for me. Parse file bytes. I think there's a different way I want to do that. I don't want to do parse HTML template. Do I? I think it takes a string. Parse. And then t.execute. W. So it's going to write the bytes it does the stuff with. Equals. Right to the output. So we don't have to actually do that anymore. Execute template. Do interface. Oh, okay. I don't need that because it's just the one thing. And then I'm going to give this Did you just work? You did. What I actually want is data struct username string this and data. Probably won't work, but I'm gonna try. It worked. So, there's that. It does the thing. So what it's doing now, instead of just reading the file and spitting it out to us, it reads the file. We define this data structure, and this is necessary, and I'll show you why in a minute. We define the data structure, give it the field username, which is a string. And then this syntax in Go allows me to just throw the values. So if I had also in here, age, int, write it. We can just one for one fill out the fields. It's just shorthand syntax. I'll show you how to do this with a full type. I'll refactor this here in a second. So I've got this data, which you see matches the data there. And then I take template.new, and this doesn't mean anything right now. There's the concept of embedded templates and things. So you can do really interesting stuff like define inside the HTML or inside a file a bunch of templates, or like have a file that contains components like these rows, for example. You could have a row defined as a template and then say, I want this row in a loop, and put into the row the stuff that is defined in your data. So that's cool. And that's more complicated template handling, but it's very composable. It's very neat. So we've got this new thing, food, for all intents and purposes, doesn't matter, we can call it whatever we want, parse, and we're taking that file bytes, the app, that HTML, all this garbage, and we're parsing it, and all that really happens when we do that is it's finding this. The double curly brace thing is very common placeholder for templates. So now we've got T, and we can execute T. And when we execute it, we tell it, when you execute, I want the result to be written to W, which is our response writer. In Go, that means send it back to the browser. And we hand it data, which has username as a field, which matches username here. And inside the templates in Go, the dot is, what they're doing is you're using dot notation, but it's like implied that the data, you don't actually have to say like data dot username. It's implied. In fact, I think that'd probably break it. But you could string together dot username dot first or whatever. There's ways to do that. There's additional dot syntax. And this replaces all of this with our username. So the way to do this without using this goofy data structure thing here, we could say type app data username string, and now we've defined app data. Now we can say data app data data dot username, equals this thing. And now this goes away. Now a little bit cleaner. Yeah. What do you want? What do you want? It's a struct. You know what I meant. So now if I go restart the server, app data is not an expression type. App data is not an expression. No. Okay, another go thing. There's two ways to initialize a variable. Var token name type, or data colon equals, which instantiates the variable and assigns it to this. But if you're going to do that syntax, you have to do these curlies, which it means the literal, like don't give me the type, give me an actual value of this type. And one of the things you can do with this is you can actually say username and then you have to add commas because Go likes commas. And then it'll do the same thing and look like I didn't do anything. It works. So we have the beginnings of this experimental app sort of taking a little bit of shape. We've got a login page, which looks way better than the application page. The goal here is to sort of create a skeleton of an application that looks like something that'll work, and then begin shimming in the actual functionality and make it do stuff. And once we get it to start doing stuff, we got another problem. I don't want to fill out 1,000 work orders or something. So we're going to have to build a little generator that creates work orders so this thing looks like it's been lived in for a little bit. So it's like demonstrable in a way that is believable and people can relate to it and see, hey, I have work orders too. I have tickets. I have, deliveries to make. And then they can relate to, there are things in this system, there are buttons that I can press, there are fields I can put text in, and these things exist, and they matter to people, and if you mess with them, that'd be bad. Or maybe you can profit from that. So we get them hooked into this idea that there's a system that exists that is usable and is a thing. It's very similar to what they have at home or at work. And I'll show you what the exploit's going to look like. This up here is just a placeholder, just to show off templating. But what we're going to do is we're going to have the application have a route that is to, say, work orders. But what we're going to do is we're going to have some routing that allows us to route to the user that we're logged in as, then the function, then the ID of the thing. So I'll give you an example. So if we're user 15 and we're in work orders, and then we're in work order number 1987, going to this page is going to give us a particular output. And the output will have constraints, like this user won't be able to, for example, change work orders, assign work orders to other people, because that's the job of a manager. And what I'm going to show is that the security is lax enough that if you change this value here, you can basically become other users, all the way down to God, the developer. And so what we're going to see is this dawning of understanding in an employee that just for giggles has noticed that these work order numbers keep changing, but this number never changes. And so just for giggles, what they do in the story of this talk is they change this to 14, and they see their username change and all the contents change. And there's like this aha moment. I'm somebody else. I can be other users. And then what we're going to have them do is basically exercise this down to like some lower number where they are logged in as the manager. And the manager has extra buttons to twiddle. And the manager can create, delete, and reassign these work orders. And this employee is going to sort of trim down their workload by reassigning work orders to their coworkers. But then they're going to discover there's a problem. There's a problem. The problem looks like this. They're going to go to logs, which is a thing that pops up once they are the manager. And they can see in the logs, there's going to be another screen, that there is a log of every time a work order is created, deleted, assigned. And that's a problem because they can go and change the work order to be assigned to a coworker, but then it's logged. And so they know when it was created and when it was changed, even though it still says, Manager Bob reassigned it. Bob knows he didn't reassign it. So we got a new problem. And so this user is going to go through this process and realize that if they go something like that, they are able to impersonate the developer, and the developer has the permission to modify the logs. So they're going to go in and cover their tracks as the developer user. And this becomes a nice, happy way for them to reduce their workload until somebody starts catching on. And the other part of the talk is, what does this look like? What does an exploit actually look like in the wild? How can this even take place? If you are at work and an exploit is happening, how does that show up? How does it manifest? So we talk about how the developer will get a bug report. And the manager saying, hey, I'm seeing this strange inconsistency in the system. I don't understand why when I assign this work to this user, a little while later, sometimes it's no longer assigned to that user. But I'm pretty sure, and they're losing their mind a little bit, so they've been starting to take notes. They've got their own log and pen and paper, and they know that they're assigning these work orders. But there's no trace in the system that the work order was changed, and it looks like Bob did it. Bob assigned it to somebody else. So that's going to cause the developer to go and add a little bit more logging that is write only. And we're going to catch that exploit red-handed. But then we got to go patch the system. And so we talk about, well, what kind of technology patches this? What sort of security do you put in place to prevent this from being exploited? Well, I mean, other than, step one, don't put your user IDs in there and just accept it if somebody changes it. Beyond that, there's, ways to do this that is more secure and will enforce that walled permissions. And so we kind of glaze over the code and we talk about how now when you use the application, if you were to go and change that number, it'll just say access denied. This has been reported. It looks scary. Well, don't, abuse the system. So that's the plan. We've got a decent start. I'm going to end the stream and relax for a little bit, but I'll be back at this in short order. We've got another Code After Dark at My Tech tomorrow, which we'll be streaming, and I don't have a plan for what we're going to do there. We might be talking about this, or we might be dorking around with the Battlestar clock. We've got some other animation things we want to do with that. No specific plans for tomorrow, but look for us at about 5 o'clock Central tomorrow for a couple hours, and I'll be back doing this from home sometime later than that. Thanks for coming out and watching. I'll talk to you later, Kirk. Bye.